welcome to Newsroom Channel's weekly review. I'm your host, Chella Smith. Thank you all for joining me today. If you're new here, we're here every Friday at 4 p.m. for your Middle East entertainment news. Let's take a look at the information of Erbil Kyrgyzstan Regional Parliament. According to WordPress.com, a member of the Kyrgyzstan Region Parliament, Baja Ali, revealed on Sunday that the Kyrgyz delegation was scheduled to visit the capital, Baghdad, postponed its visit till next week. The postponement of the visit came at the request of the federal government, but that the federal government is ready at this time to discuss the implementation of the budget agreement, which entered into force, Ali told Al-Muhumma. He added that the delegation, consisting of groups of ministers, will visit Baghdad next week to meet with the ministers of finance, oil, and planning of the federal government, and the understanding of how to deliver oil from regional to Baghdad, and also the funds allocated to the Kyrgyzstan by the federal government. An in-force source confirmed that there are differences between the oil companies and the regional government that prevent delivery of oil by the Kyrgyzstans, and they put it into the accounts of the SOMO. On another hand, Baghdad Today reported Jahan Hassan, a member of the National Resource Committee in Kyrgyzstan Regional Parliament, revealed yesterday, April 29, 2021, the reason for delaying the implementation of the budget agreement between the governments of Baghdad and Erbil, while denying the existence of the dispute between the regional governments and oil companies operating in Kyrgyzstan over the issue of oil delivery to Baghdad. Hassan said in an interview with Baghdad Today, the issue of the delaying the implementation of the budget agreement between Baghdad and Erbil had nothing to do with the oil companies and their opposition to oil delivery at all. He added that the issue is limited of the existence of some technical problem that would be resolved by the visit of the Kyrgyzstan regional government delegation, which includes a group of ministers, and the visit Baghdad the coming days to implement the budget agreement between the federal government and Kyrgyzstan regional government. Taking a look at Shafak News, the governor of the Central Bank of Iraq, Mustafa Ghalib, held a meeting yesterday with the World's Gold Council upon their request. The media office of the bank said in a statement received by Shafak News that the meeting dealt with a number of issues, the most prominent of which were technical support and training files, in addition to discussing the increase in the foreign reserves of the central bank, which was achieved after the implementation of recent reforms in the work of the bank and the banking sector. The statement noted that the World's Gold Council had provided full support to the central bank in case it wished to increase the gold quota for Iraq. It is noteworthy that the Central Bank of Iraq ranked 5th in Arab world and 38th globally in its term of the size of the gold reserves. Mwanzi News reported a senior American official said on Wednesday that a team of American envoys will travel to the Middle East soon to hold talks with key allies of the United States. This came amid mounting concerns in the regions about U.S. President Joe Biden's bid to rejoin the Iran's nuclear deal. A high-ranking delegation will travel next week to discuss a number of important issues related to the U.S. national security and ongoing efforts to ease tension in the Middle East, the official said. An informed source said that the delegations will be headed by the National Security Council Middle East Policy Coordinator at the White House, Brett McCurk, and that the United States Department Advisor Derek Scholl. Although the route of the tour is still unclear, there are initial plans for the delegation to visit Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, Egypt, and Jordan. Many of the United States allies in the regions are concerned that Joe Biden is seeking to rejoin the Iran nuclear deal. Iran, Russia, Britain, China, France, and Germany began a third round of meetings in Vienna this week with the aim of agreeing on the steps that will need to be taken in the event of reviving the agreement from which the administration of the United States President Donald Trump withdrew in 2018. And according to Shafak News today, Al-Fredaian Bank announced the launch of salaries of employees of Resident Ministry of Defense for the first time. Through MasterCard, the media office of the bank said in a statement that for the first time, the salaries of defense employees were raised electronically through the MasterCard after it was paid manually. He pointed out that the bank is continuing the process of resetting the salaries of defense employees and using a MasterCard to them and distributing them to their military units without reviewing the bank. And according to Shafak News, oil prices rose to the highest levels in 6 weeks on Thursday, thanks to the strong data for the U.S. economy, a decline in the dollar, and an expected recovery in demand, which nullified the effects and concerns about growing COVID-19 infections in Brazil and India. Brent future rose 1.9, equivalent to 1.9%, and determined the settlement price at $68.56 a barrel, while the U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude increased 1.8% to close at $65.01 a barrel. The benchmark continues its gains for the third day in a row, registering the highest close since March 15th. Dinar, director of oil markets at Rystad Energy, said the summer season is the season for trips and vehicle drivers in the United States. China and the United Kingdom are consuming more fuel in development that the markets believe will compensate for the Indian slowdown due to COVID-19. He added that the oil prices received additional support from the drop in the dollar, which made oil cheaper to buy internationally. The U.S. currency hovered near its lowest level in 9 weeks under the weight of expansions for continuing monetary erasing from the Federal Reserve and bold spending plans from the U.S. President Joe Biden. Iraq receives $24 million from Germany, according to Obsleek. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs confirmed today, April 30th, that Iraq is making great efforts to restore its regional and global role, and while Baghdad renews its support for dialogue tracks in the region. The reading indicated its continued follow-up to files of Iraq's funds and real estate aboard. Ministry spokesman Ahmad al-Sayaf said in a statement to official agencies that Iraq is making great efforts to coordinate with all its friends around the world to reserve international positions, and that this is important because it will reposition Iraq within the various international organizations in the world, as well as restore Iraq's opportunities. By taking decisions in more than one important department related to human rights, the United Nations, and human rights organizations. And that's all for your weekly review. Thank you for joining me. We won't be here this Sunday. I have prior obligations, but we'll be back Friday, May 7th. You've been watching Newsroom Channel, your entertainment Middle East news. But before you go, please don't forget to like and subscribe so that way you're not left behind. Thank you everyone again. Have a great weekend and take care. Make sure you join us Fridays, 4 p.m. with Newsroom Updates with Chella Smith, Entertainment News. And don't forget us on Sundays for What's Cooking in the Kitchen. You can also find us behind the scenes 24/7 on Snapchat.